Hello, beautiful people on the internet. It's me, Gratify What Ifs, and I'm here to tell you what if Deku had Luke Cage's powers part 7. And sorry for uploading it late. I don't usually do it late like this. I've been having some problems. And before I jump into the video, please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and comment down below any kind of what ifs ideas that you have. Anyway, let's jump into the what if. So last time I left off, Izuku was about to face Shinso, but Ojiro, before that happened, told him what Shinso's quirk could be and told him how he used it on him. So Izuku, taking the sword, decides to keep his mouth shut all the way till he beats Shinso. And Shinso, after asking some people about Izuku earlier on, and getting it from Monima as well, because that man is a rat. Well, at least if he is in canon, he's a rat. In this one, where he's searching up people's backstories, he went to go ask about Izuku, and he says that he's a quiet person, which really wasn't going to help. So he decided to look up on him more and see what could trigger him the most, and then he discovered about his family problems and discover about him being the survivor, as I said in the first and second episodes. And they walk in and Shinso starts bad-mouthing him, which doesn't really faze Izuku. Then he walks towards him. Then he starts bad-mouthing his classmates, which is also annoying him. Then he bad-mouths Bakugo. And this really starting to annoy him now, but he's keeping his mouth shut until he starts talking about him being the survivor, and he starts telling it to everybody. And now Izuku is pissed because he just blitzed Shinso and smashed his head against the concrete, to the point where Cementos even had to help the poor boy up because he was stuck. And then Izuku just calmly walked off the platform. Some people just staring at him because they're like, no way, is he the survivor? Could it be? And then all for one, from where he's sitting watching this entire thing unfold, it's like, so that's where the rats went. And anyway, let's cut back into the sports festival. And Izuku just goes back to his waiting room with some Class 1B and General Studies looking at him. Everyone in Class 1 they already knew earlier on, but not Class 1B or the General Studies. And he just goes to his waiting room. And then we have Todoroki versus Izuku after all those fights. And let me just say that since Bakugo has had some influence from Izuku, he won't necessarily beat Ochako to the point where she feels like she's crushing her dreams. She does try and lead him on, but he still, wants to win. Just not crushing her dreams to the point where she starts breaking down. Anywho, Todoroki, who is still kind of pissed about Endeavor's words earlier on, and even though he took it out on Zero by accident, he's still pretty pissed. And as Izuku is walking out, Endeavor does meet him up, and he's like, "Young Midoriya, is that you?" And then Izuku is all like, "Yeah, the one and only." And Endeavor is like, "Well, how's your life?" And then Endeavor is like, "Better, thanks to you and all those other heroes." And then Endeavor says, "Well, I have a favor to ask." And Izuku's like, "What is it?" "I'm about to fight your son, so please can we make it quick?" And Endeavor is like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I need. He's blocked off his fire side. Can you please help him realize that he does not need to hide his true potential because of my mistakes? Please, that would mean a lot to me." And then Izuku just starts walking away, saying that, "I'm not going to convince that idiot. If he doesn't want to use his fire side, then don't let him. But if he's anything like you, whatever, I'm sure that he'll use it. Not because he wants to, but because he hates losing. And Izuku just walks off. And Endeavor to himself is like, well, it's still better than nothing. And then he heads back to the stands, waiting for the match to start. And then President Mike just starts saying random shit. And Erisa is like, please, if there is a God, kill me now. In his mind. And President Mike is like, over here now we have the first match of the quarter tournament. And on the left side we have the half hot, the half cold, the prodigy son of Endeavor, Shoto Todoroki. And on the right side, coming from the background, Izuku is still walking. And from the left side, we have the unbreakable Izuku Midoriya. And everyone is still off-putted by him, so it's a half-hearted Raw. So he walks into the stage. And Izuku and Shoto Todoroki have a face-off. And Midnight is like, begin. And they begin to brawl. Before Izuku could even come close to smash Todoroki in the face, Todoroki puts up an ice barrier, but Izuku easily smashes through it, nearly hitting Todoroki, but he was able to back away from it. Then he uses more of his ice to maneuver around Izuku, and then hits him with multiple ice pillars. But Izuku is able to dodge or smash each and every one of them until he catches up with Todoroki again, and then manages to punch him square in the face, sending him flying. But he was able to get at least his ice foot into the ground so that he was able to stop himself. And then everyone's like, wow, this is a really good match. But it's kind of boring and one-sided. And then everyone's like, yeah. And then Izuku is like, is that all you got? And then Todoroki is like, I'm not done yet. And then he starts pelting him with more and more ice. He tries to go with the heaven-piercing ice wall that he did to Zero, but Izuku easily dismantled it with a thunderclap, shattering it. Not into a million pieces, but shattering it to the point where it's just useless. And everyone is like, whoa. And then Izuku is like, bro, use that damn fire side of yours, because I could do this all day. And then Todoroki is like, no matter what happens, I'll never use that bastard's quirk. He says that he's changed like hell. And as he says this, he sends up another giant pillar against Izuku, which Izuku dodges, but it starts to turn back and it hits him square in the back, which sends him flying, but not out of bounds. And then Izuku gets back up and is like, you know that's just pissing me off. And then Todoroki's like, as long as it gets you out of the ring, I don't care. And then Izuku starts saying, if you don't use that damn fire side, I promise you, you're not gonna win. And then he's like, I don't care, I'll beat you only half of my power. And then Izuku suddenly halts. And he gets angry. And if you know very well of my hero, you know very well why he was angry. Because he used to be quirkless, and everyone is giving it their all, and yada yada yada. But since everyone knows what happened to him, and that he was quirkless before that shit happens, he doesn't necessarily need to hide it, and people understand why he's angry. And he was like, half of your power? Do you know how many people could only wish to have the kind of power you have? And then Todoroki starts to get up, but it's hard because Frost has already started building all over his body, even worse than it was in the show, because he's been using it non-stop against Izuku. And as he's getting up, Izuku is walking very, very menacingly towards Todoroki. And then he's like, do you have any idea how much people have put their sweat and blood on the line so that they could be scouted to become great heroes one day? And you're here giving me the bullshit that you beat me will have your power. And then he grabs Todoroki by the throat and then says, if you don't use that damn fire side of yours, I'll make sure that you won't even be able to walk yourself out of the arena. And then, out of reflex, Todoroki suddenly activates his fire side. Because, well, it was shocking, just appeared out of nowhere. And then this forces Izuku to drop him. Even though that it didn't hurt him, he can still feel heat. Which is actually kind of why he didn't want to help Todoroki. But he also planned this out as well. As he was angry, this was his plan. And then he says, so you finally started to use it, huh? And then Todoroki's like, well, be careful what you wish for, Izuku Midoriya, because like they said, you might always get it. And then Todoroki starts to do that crazy supernova thing like he did in the anime, but Izuku can't counter it with one fall, so he tries to catch it. And because he is somewhat invulnerable, he is being pushed out of the ring ever so slightly as Todoroki is growing brighter and brighter and brighter until it's like a giant flash bomb grenade. And then everyone had to cover their eyes so that they won't be blinded. And then when all the smoke settles, they see Todoroki out of bounds and Izuku on the floor on all fours. And then they're like, what just happened? And then Eraserhead starts to contemplate what could have happened so that you all could be able to understand why I did that. As he was being pushed out of the ring and was being blinded by Todoroki, he decided to pull out something that, well, might cost him the match. But then again, the last one worked out, so he got out of the way and stopped holding Todoroki so that he would push himself out. And then he also gave him a final super strength push so that he would finally fall out. But Izuku started going a little bit colorblind. So he fell down onto all fours as you saw him now. And he's still blinking because that was like a freaking supernova in his face. That's basically the description he gave. And as Todoroki is being carried away by the nurse, Endeavor is from the stand smiling as a proud father, not as that dickish thing that we saw in season 2. Because he just saw Todoroki finally use his full potential and he's glad that he is going to become a great hero. And then we move on to everything until we see the final match. Katsuki Bakugo versus Izuku Midoriya. Both of them are in the same waiting room. And then they begin to chat, saying that, I'm going to win, right? And then Bakugo says, dream on. Until Izuku brings up the top subject of One for All. And then, well, Bakugo just says, I don't know. Lately, my quirk has been getting stronger. I've been able to do bigger explosions with more impact and less of the recoil, but you still can't use the actual quirk. And then Bakugo is like, no, I don't know what to do, but Izuku is like, hey, don't worry about it. One day you'll be able to do it, and then soon you'll be able to do stuff like this. He grabs a spoon, and then with a finger tap, like, when you're tapping a pen, he bent it, and then threw it off. And then Bakugo is like, yeah, I'm not going to lie, super strength is pretty cool. But at least you'll be able to turn it off. Izuku starts to joke and both of them laugh. And as they are being called, they head into the arena. And as they are being presented, President Mike is like, and now everyone, for the final match to conclude the sports festival, we have the explosive, the firecracker, Katsuki Bakugo. And on the right side, we have the person that has made it in first place, come back with a close fourth place and was able to beat his opponents into this final round. Izuku Midoriya. And as they look at each other, they start to smile. And then when Midnight says go, both of them leap at each other. Kachan is leaping with his explosions. He does a flip in the air and then smashes an explosion in Izuku's face. And then as he gets back up, Izuku is like, wow, I'm not gonna lie, that actually hurts. And then Baku is like, how are you still standing? And then he's like, well, he should have used a bigger explosion. And then they begin to brawl. Kachan is still doing all of his best to try and blow up Izuku, but it's not working. He's somehow shrugging it off, but it does have an effect on him, mostly his embers. As the embers does hit Izuku, it is blinding him a bit, so he has to be closing his eyes. So Kachan usually takes this as a chance to hit him in some weak points that won't break his bones, like the stomach, or just hit him with more explosions, deafening his senses. And then Kachan is like, God, if only I could use one for all. And then he starts to think of ways that I could try and beat him. He says, stun grenade. Now he probably would have found a counter. I could go for an AP shot, but that still won't work. How it's an impact? Wait. And then he starts to look at his arm again. And he's like, it's worth a shot. And then Izuku is like, are you going to stop pelting me with little rain and fight me like a man or what? And then Kachan is like, get ready, man. And then he starts to put his hands together. And then he says, AP shots. And then Izuku's like, AP what? And then little explosives starts to pelt Izuku, hitting him here, there, everywhere. And then it disorients him. And as he's being disoriented, Bakugo says, stun grenade. And it just blinds Izuku. And then Kachan gets ready. He puts his hands in a cross. Explosions are coming off everywhere. And then he gets ready to do his howitzer impact. As Izuku opens his eyes, instead of seeing his hand being hit, instead of seeing Kachan's hand with an explosion, he sees a charged up one for all fist. And it hits him straight in the face. Like when you're watching Defenders and you saw how Iron Fist just broke Luke Cage's face with his iron fist, that's kind of like how it went. And it sent Izuku flying out of the ring and then pounding straight up into the stands. And he falls down. And then everyone is in delay shock. And then they begin to cheer. And then Prison Mike is like, what an explosive move. And with that, Katsuki Bakugo wins. And then everyone starts to cheer. And Izuku and Bakugo falls to his knees, screaming in pain. Because that shit broke his arm. And then everyone's like, why is he screaming in pain? And then they notice the arm is like, holy crap. What the hell happened to his arm? And everyone's like, yeah, what the hell happened to his arm? And how come we've never seen him do that before? And everyone's like, what the fuck? At least Class 1B and the general studies, because they're like, wow, that man was not joking. And then Bakugo is cursing. Like, he's cursing more than he did in canon. That's how much he's cursing. To the point where Midnight had to knock him out because he was cursing too much. And he was taken to Recovery Girl. And after Recovery Girl, he was placed on the podium with Todoroki third instead of Tokoyami, Izuku Midoriya as second, and Kachan first, but with a cast around his arm. And then All Might appears to give him a medal. He's like, Shoto Todoroki, You are proven to be a powerful hero with a powerful quirk. But if you cannot master both sides, you will eventually end up regretting it. And he goes to give the silver medal to Izuku Midoriya, and he's like, Izuku Midoriya, you may have been, you've had a checkered past that people know of. But despite all that, you have proven yourself to be a strong hero. And then he gives the gold medal to Kachan Bakugo. He's like, young Bakugo, you have proven today why you are a great hero by winning the sports festival. Congratulations. And then Kachan begins to tear up. And then Izuku's like, come on, man, not for the cameras. And then Katsuki is like, well, at least I beat you once. All that time that we felt. And then as he's saying this, he's taking off all the tears from his eyes. And he's like, yeah, that was an incredible move. Like, seriously, what do you even call that? And then he just starts to think about it and he says, how it's a smash. And then we're like, wow, that's pretty badass. And as he says this, they walk home. And this is where I'm going to leave it off, guys. I hope that you found it interesting. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. If I made like any mistakes that I don't usually do, it's because I'm tired as fuck. So please do me a favor and, see you in the next one.